Hello, dear brothers and sisters. This is Sister Mary, and you are listening to Lighting the Way Ministries. We are continuing to read through the Bible. We are in First Chronicles, chapter 5, and today we would have read all the way to chapter 6, verse 81. However, as I have stated in previous videos, as far as the Chronicles, there are so many names to pronounce. I am no professor of theology. So I just tell you that those names are in the Bible for a reason. God put them there. But without the knowledge of the importance and the ability to pronounce each and every one, I just tell you to go and read that for yourself. So again, it would have been First Chronicles chapter 5 all the way to chapter 6, verse 81. And we will continue to read our Psalm and Proverbs, and we are in Acts chapter 5. And I will pick up with Chronicles as soon as all the genealogies are not spoken of. So today's topic is the singing church. And this is found in 1 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 31 and 32. Now these are the men whom David appointed over the service of song in the house of the Lord, after the ark came to rest. They were ministering with music before the dwelling place of the tabernacle of meeting until Solomon had built the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, and they served in their office according to their order. The singers in the temple stood in their office, which was song. Their special work was praise. The waves of their choral praise have long ago since ceased around the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and all that is left of their melodies is a dry list of names, in spite of which the dead owners of them are nameless. But the chronicler's description of them may carry a lesson for us. For is not the church of Christ a choir, chosen to show forth the praises of him who has called us out of darkness into his glorious light? As a matter of fact, every period of quickened earnestness in the church's life has been a period marked by a great outburst of Christian song. The church's praise is the noblest expression of the church's life. Its hymns go deeper than its creeds, touch hearts more to the quick, and minister to the faith which they enshrine, and often draw others to see the preciousness of the Christ whom they celebrate. We are the secretaries of God's praise, for we have possession of his greatest gift, and have learned to know him in loftier fashion, having seen the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ, and tasted the sweetness of redeeming love. A praising church has experiences of its own which angels cannot share, and it sets in motion the greatest sea of praise, whose surges break in music and roll from every side of the universe in melodious thunder to the great white throne. Praise and glory be to God in all of our worship. So we will pick up with Psalms. We're in Psalms chapter 77, verses 1 through 3. I cried out to God with my voice, and he gave ear to me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My hand was stretched out in the night without ceasing. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God and was troubled. I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. Proverbs chapter 19, verses 10 through 12. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook a transgression. The king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. Acts chapter 5, verses 1 through 21. But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira his wife, sold a possession, and he kept back part of the proceeds. His wife also, being aware of it, and brought a certain part, and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and keep back part of the price of the land for yourself, while it remained? Was it not your own? And after it was sold, was it not in your own control? Why have you conceived this this thing in your heart. You have not lied to men, but to God." Then Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and breathed his last. So great fear came upon all those who heard these things. And the young men arose and wrapped him up, carried him out, and buried him. Now it was about 3 hours later when his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. And Peter answered her, "Tell me whether you sold the land for so much." And she said, "Yes, for so much." And then Peter said to her, "How is it that you have agreed together to test the Spirit of the Lord? Look, the feet of those who have buried your husband are at the door, and they will carry you out." Then immediately she fell down at his feet and breathed her last. And the young men came in and found her dead, and carrying her out, buried her by her husband. So great fear came upon all the church and upon all who heard these things. And through the hands of the apostles many signs and wonders were done among the people. And they were all with one accord in Solomon's porch. Yet none of the rest dared join them, but the people esteemed them highly. And believers were increasingly added to the Lord, multitudes of both men and women, so that they brought the sick out into the streets and laid them on beds and couches, that at least the shadow of Peter passing by might fall on some of them. Also a multitude gathered from the surrounding cities to Jerusalem, bringing sick people and those who were tormented by unclean spirits, and they were all healed. Then the high priest rose up, and all those who were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees. And they were filled with indignation, and laid their hands on the apostles, and put them in the common prison. But at night an angel of the Lord opened the prison doors, and brought them out, and said, "Go stand in the temple, and speak to the people all the words of this life." And when they heard it, they entered the temple early in the morning and taught. But the high priest and those with him came and called the council together, with all the elders of the children of Israel, and sent to the prison to have them brought.